This is a bit of moulding off a long case clock. I've repaired that part of the rebate, but there's a lot of this Greek key decoration that goes around it that's missing. So I'm going to cut a strip up and cut these bits out with the circular saw. Now, the gap I need to cut on average is about 4mm. I mean, they do vary quite a bit, but if I measure that, they average out about 16mm. So that means one of these saw curves needs to be 4mm. The top piece there is 5mm. Now that's the bit that sits up into the rebate. The bottom one is 4mm like the rest. So the first thing I'll do is cut that bit, the bottom ones. So I'll set my blade $5mm down on the stock. Now the blade on this saw is only 3.2 and I need it to cut 4mm. So I've spaced this out slightly bigger than it needs to be. So that's about 12.5mm, and this is the same thickness as the blade. So what I'll do is I'll cut the first one sort of freehand until it's 4mm, and then give it 2 cuts using that as a guide. It's got to be very accurate or it'll start to creep out and get bigger and bigger or smaller and smaller depending on which way you've got it. So it's taken a few goes to get it to cut right, but I'll check every 3 or 4 anyway, just to make sure. Right, so I've got the first one, 4mm, so I'll hook it over that stop and push it over that way, take my first cut, push it slightly that way, take my second cut, and then carry on all the way along. Like I say, I've got to keep checking so it's not creeping up bigger and bigger, and then turn it over and obviously raise the blade and do the other side. So those are all 4mm and those are 12, which is exactly what I want. This stop on here is very slightly tapered, so it's thinner this end than that end. This is so I can tap it in and out for fine adjustments, because it has to be absolutely perfect. If it's too thin, the groove will get bigger as you go along, and if it's too wide it'll get thinner. so you have to sort of keep tweaking it, do a bit of trial and error on some scrap pieces until you get it just right. So now I'll raise the blade by 1 millimetre, turn it over and do the other side. So that's that bit cut. It did go a bit wrong down that end. It doesn't matter, it's no worse than the original, but I don't need all of it anyway, so I'll probably only need up to there, so that doesn't really matter. So it just needs a bit of a sanding, very carefully, because it's quite fragile now, and that'll go in there. Just cleaning up the little V that the saw blade's left.